Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Embodied by Mac. My name is Michaela. I'm an evolutionary and predictive astrologer, and today we're here for your February 2026 horoscopes. This is a rocking and rolling month because we start off the month with a very dramatic full moon in Leo, and then we have Saturn moving into Aries, which is initiating a 3-year cycle. Saturn's going to conjunct Neptune at 0 degrees Aries, which is a cycle we have never experienced before in our lifetimes. That's a total reset in a certain part of your life. And we also have a new eclipse season starting in the Aquarius Leo axis. So, eclipse seasons tend to be pretty intense and can accelerate things in our life and feel like we're being forwarded back onto our path or redirected onto our path. And it's really where time collapses, karmic situations kind of fall into place and we get redirected and pushed along further in our journey for growth, for evolution, to meet your aspirations, to meet your goals, your manifestations, what have you. But eclipses can be intense emotional periods. So we're going to talk about that definitely. And then towards the end of the month, we are in the middle to the end of the month, we are in a Mercury retrograde period. So, first Mercury retrograde of 2026. So, there's just a few things I want to touch on for each of the astrological signs for this month. I think that's pretty much enough to get covered. And at the end, if you feel like you want a reading with me, then you can go to embodiedbymac.com. You can book a reading right through there, or you can connect with me on any of my social media on Instagram, TikTok, or here on YouTube. You can find my email, send me a letter, and let me know if I can help you. And if you want a reading to navigate the next 6 months ahead for us in 2026. Okay, so make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and get ready for your horoscope. Okay, Taurus. So we start the month off with a full moon in Leo, and that's happening in your fourth house. So this is all about your home and family life, coming to a culmination or an illumination. So with full moons, we're looking at something in full illumination, full perspective of what it is. So this is all about where you're at with your home and family life. Full moon in Leo tends to be more about joy and pleasure oriented, having fun, feeling more playful. But this can also bring up, memories, somatic memories, ancestral memories, past memories. That are coming into the light now or coming into perspective so that they can be integrated. Okay. So essentially this is all about integration here, where you're at. Like, are you content? Um, are you happy in your home life? Are you moving? Are you considering moving? Are there changes happening in your home life? Where are you at in this phase? Or are you reaching a culmination that something is fulfilled, something has reached its point of fulfillment, and so forth. Some Taurus risings might be considering moving or relocation, or they might be deciding, hey, we need to um, finish this project, finish this remodel. This could be truth oriented around the structures inside of the home. But there's something about like your inner sense of self and your inner security, because the Leo is definitely associated with your creative self-expression inside of the fourth house. This is the house of your self-identity. So, are you able to safely and securely feel like you can express yourself inside of your family or inside of your home? Is there some type of new family member coming into the light or into the perspective? Maybe some of your children are, you're finding out you're going to be a grandparent, or, you know, or a family member is moving in or a family member is moving out. maybe you're adding people, or it's looking like you might add people to your family or to your home. Okay. There's something inside here of like the home is going to shift, or at least there's like a little spotlight of something in the home shifting, but this can also deal with your personal sense of self and your self-identity kind of shifting. And then that also, of course, would shift the dynamics inside of your home life and family structure. Just because Taurus risings have so much going on in their 10th house, which is the outside identity and how the rest of the world kind of sees you in this public state. Okay. This is also the parental access. So maybe there's something going on with the parental access here where we're needing to integrate, two polarity points and two perspectives, right? To bring the home more pleasure or more joy. There could be like an inner security reckoning happening during this time. Okay. It's not like a disruptive, like too disruptive, where I would say it's like a negative energy. It's more of like an illumination of what is going to really bring me joy and satisfaction, when it comes to the foundation of my life and to my home life, my family, and where I have my roots like associated. Okay. And then we're going to go on to the Saturn and Neptune moving into Aries, which is happening on the 13th of February. Um, so this is a really big cycle happening for all of us, but I need to obviously point out that this is going to be at 0 degrees of Aries happening in your 12th house, Taurus and Taurus rising. So 0 degrees of Aries is a world point. So it's considered a point in astrology where things happening here are more amplified, right? They take on like an even more intense power. And this is the beginning of the beginning of the beginning of the zodiac, okay? 0 degrees Aries. So there's an massive beginning happening, but it's in your 12th house. So it's a little bit behind the scenes right now. Okay. So there's a bit of karmic closure that is coming to an end. So there's some kind of karmic cycle attached to you, attached to your chart, attached to your life that is needing to be put to rest, that's coming to a rest. But then there's also a new karmic beginning coming in. So because this is following the full moon that's happening in your fourth house, perhaps this is related to your ancestors, right? Or your family lineage. Perhaps you feel like you're coming into a state of your life where you're really closing out long-term karmic cycles in your family and your life so that you can completely have a new beginning in your family cycle and your lineage that you're going to lead on moving forward. For Taurus, this is very important because Taurus really wants that stability and inner security. And they also want to be able to leave that, especially for Taurus who, have families and have children. They want to be able to leave that as some type of legacy, passed down. Okay. Because they really value that sense of security. And that security also becomes like a personal asset that they have, that they carry throughout life. So with Saturn and Neptune moving here, Saturn on one level wants boundaries, right? It wants to hold boundaries, but it's moving into the 12th house where boundaries become vulnerable. Okay. We have a hard time initiating or holding boundaries when a planet will move into the 12th house. It's not to say that for the next 3 years, you are not going to have boundaries, but it's more like an invitation to soften up where maybe you need to like loosen or let go of the scaffolding and initiate new ones instead. Maybe the boundaries that you used to have in place, maybe they aren't working, or maybe you're going to see now an illumination. It's gonna come to the surface where you might have been undermining yourself, or maybe, not having the right clarity of like what boundaries could look for you. Okay. Because a planet transiting through the 12th house, a planet hitting Neptune like Saturn and Neptune are going to do, eventually you're going to get this sense of clarity around, where do I need to keep these gates, right? Or these walls, and where can I allow more compassion to come in, right? So it's it's a tough learning lesson that Taurus is coming into, because Saturn is going to be here for the next 3 years in this place in your chart. But then you also have Neptune here, which is going to be in Aries for the next 14 years of your chart. Okay, so if you look back between May 24th of 2025 to September 1st of 2025, this is when Saturn gave you a preview of being in your 12th house, okay? So maybe there were things that felt like they were not in your control anymore, okay? And that's what the universe wants to test you with now is can you let go of certain areas of your life where you will not have control over it, and it will test your faith, and it will ask you to have more faith in something higher than yourself, right? Something connected to, another world, whether that's the God or universe or creativity itself, okay? There's could have been a time when maybe you seek spiritual or emotional help from a mentor or a teacher of some sort, okay? This transit's going to encourage you to pick that up again because the Saturn is going to be in the 12th house for the next 3 years between February 13th of 2026 to April 12th of 2028. So this is a time where you can really use the fortitude and the practicality that this planet can bring and harness it towards the spiritual perspective of your life, right? The part of life where we have to have faith in something else and trust in something else, because that's when we can unleash our creativity and our gifts, our spiritual gifts. And that's when we can actually let go and loosen our grip on control and allow the universe to take over and really give us the gifts that, we need. Okay. So this is something that happens once every 30 years. So if you're old enough, you can think back about 30 years ago, where might I have not had some control in my life? And where were things outside of my control? And where did that put me on my timeline? Because there's going to be similar themes coming up for you now so that you can have more authority in your life, but also surrender to things that are outside of you, okay? These things are going to push your boundaries to new levels, Taurus. And as an archetype, I tend to think, you can be stubborn, but it's for good reason, right? You're accomplished and you accomplish things in life because you have this ability to have strength when it's needed and dig your heels into the soil when hard work needs to show up. But now it's really about doing that for yourself and having your own self-compassion instead of holding that strength and feeling like you have to do that for everybody else all the time. Okay. Saturn is a teacher. It can bring us hard work, but it's an area of your life that's really about surrender and karma and things that are outside of yourself. So the more you can loosen some grips of control over the next 30 years, the more you're going to allow the universe to bring you the karma and the good things that you deserve, right? That are rewarded for you at this time. There's good things coming in, and if you just loosen your grips of control and the need to control situations, then the universe kind of puts you in the right place at the right time. And you never know where that can lead you to, because on the 12th house, we can get gifts that reach the masses, right? So for some of you who are very much probably career oriented right now or power oriented, just because Pluto is in your 10th house, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for many of you who might want more power in your life, right? Or, in your career, kind of surrendering with Saturn going to the 12th house, it can very much put you at the right place at the right time with the right people who are meant to be long lasting, who are going to be supportive structures for you, on a very compassionate, empathetic level instead of you having to just be in survival mode all the time on your own and having to hold everything up on your own. You can kind of loosen the grips here for a little while and let the universe kind of take over for you and just allow yourself to have some of those gifts come in. So after that, we start this eclipse season. And during eclipse seasons, things can feel very intense and very rushed. And I would encourage people to remind yourself that during eclipse season, energy is meant to feel like that because eclipses reroute us on our karmic path. Okay. So if we are like far off our karmic path and we're making the wrong choices, eclipses come in, they come in twice a year and they reroute us. Okay. And they will gently or massively, depending on how far off on your path you are, they will come in and usher you back onto your dharma, okay, or your correct path that is meant for your astrology chart. So this is going to begin the eclipse season that's in Aquarius and Leo. And so if you think back, the last time that we had this eclipse cycle was in February 2017 to January 2019. So if you want to pause the video and think back for a minute, this eclipse cycle will have similar themes, okay? They won't all be the same, but there will be general concepts, general themes that are coming up for you, Taurus and Taurus risings, that you want to consider. Okay. And then if you want to go back even further, if you're old enough, it's February 2008 to August of 2009. There were also similar themes with this eclipse cycle. So, a new moon eclipse is going to initiate a 6 month period. So, on February 17th, you will begin a new 6 month period where some endings and some new beginnings are going to be interplayed with each other. And this is happening in your 10th house, okay? So, 10th house dynamics often deal with our public image and how we're seen in the world. So, there could be an uprising with this, right? There could be something of a revolution that happens in your life where you're taking a different path in your career or you're upgrading your circle of friendships or network that is going to launch your career in a new direction. Okay. This can be massive karmic life-changing events for Taurus risings where the trajectory of your life, just takes a new direction. For some of you, this could affect your marital status, okay? So you could be getting a partner, a new partner coming in that changes the course of your life, or you could be separating from a partner or in the middle of that. And that ending will also, if you're ready, could bring a new partner coming in that changes the trajectory of your life. These could be friendship related partners, they could be in alignment with your group of friends, your networks, your communities that you're involved with, or even your work life. That could be, a new movement. This also has to deal with your sense of authority that you have, okay? And like your sense of responsibility that you have over the world. So for some of you, you might be choosing to let go of certain responsibilities that you've had for a long time and choosing to take new ones over, okay? And going in a new direction here. This could be very progressive for the direction of your life that you're going in. Again, this is heavily focused on your work in the world, your marital status, how you're seen in the world, what type of responsibilities you're choosing to take on. Maybe you don't want to be the leader of the group anymore, or maybe you do want to be the leader of the group and you're given that opportunity. There could be a changeover of leadership here because there's a change that's happening like within you at the same time. Okay. It's always futuristic oriented with Aquarius. It's always very progressive. Sometimes it can be quite shocking. It is a new moon in Aquarius. So some of these breakthroughs might happen for you that are quite shocking to yourself or like the people who see you, right? Your public image. It could be shocking to them. You're like, all of a sudden you want to close down the business because you want to start this new business, for instance, right? It's just kind of like breakthrough energy that can be unexpected, that can come in, but ultimately will lead you to a very progressive direction in your life. And then we're going to wrap up the month with a Mercury retrograde cycle. So the Mercury retrograde officially starts on February 22nd, 2026. But I do want to tell you that the shadow period begins February 11th of 2026. So really from February 11th, you want to be careful about your text messages, sending slip-up emails, hearing back from people. This is when you hear back, especially for you, because it's going to be in your 11th house. It's a Mercury retrograde in your 11th house. Old friends, people from the past coming back, they might have good news for you that helps you with the direction of your life going forward. Or they might have good news for you that helps you with new partnerships. New career goals. They might just help you in some type of way that creates the vision for your future to become more aligned, right? So Mercury retrograde in Pisces can very much give you these karmic gifts like coming in, but they're coming in through the resources and the help of other people, okay? Other people bringing them to you. So this is definitely when you'll hear back from people from the past. You might be attending work events, community events that you have attended to in the past. They might be calling you back to speak, to be a part of it, to just show up, you know, and just certain repeating themes from that. So the last time we had a Mercury retrograde in Pisces was March 29th of last year, 2025, to April 7th of 2025. So if you can kind of think back to some of those similar themes, um, that might be a repeat as well for the month of February. Definitely make sure though that you're backing up your files, you're backing up your client files, especially because it's in the 11th house. Um, and you are not starting any new projects between this period. February 26th to March 20th, I wouldn't recommend you initiate anything new. It's okay if you want to revise something. Of course, if you have no choice but to start something new, then, have it be like that is the way that things need to be. But if you do have a choice and you can postpone things, I would wait until Mercury is out of its retrograde, March 20th, 2026, because more likely than not, if you do something during Mercury retrograde, you will have to do it twice. So I hope that helps, Taurus, and have a great month of February.